My yearly trip from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth was planned again with Maximum Travel and a few new passes to explore. Day one will be about 480 kilometers from Cape Town to Bonnedale Guest Farm, as is just outside George. We will pass Malgas Ferry, Riversdale and Herbertsdale. It was a short stint on tar over Salari's Pass before I turned right again into the vineyards and apple orchards. After that, it was all gravel again. Looking back at the Steenbras pump station dam, I saw a big man on a big bike. This field is being prepared for new crops. It will most probably be a vineyard because they deep rip the whole area with a massive bulldozer. And then we were back in the ruins. I think this area is probably the third biggest, or actually accounting for a third of the country's grain, one of the many silos. I'm planning a trip just concentrating on old bridges, another windmill. This one is also out of commission. Rows and rows of bales for the fodder in winter. Down to Malgas. This is the last hand-operated ferry in the country, and apparently they're actually going to replace this unit with a big motorized monstrosity. Although it looks hard to pull the whole unit across the river, it's actually not that bad. This must have been a major-ish road in the old days because it's got distance markers. Anybody for mutton? There are loads and loads of sheep around, and a nice river with a very high water measuring thingamajig. I've passed these ruins many times and never ever stopped. What a surprise to see with the accuracy and the effort the old people put into their houses. My first stop for the day was in Riversdale. This town was proclaimed in 1838 and currently there's about 16,000 inhabitants. It was, as usual, formed on a farm where there was a church with the name of Doornkral. The courtyard of the old jail is now a Saturday market for various farmer fruits and vegetables from the area. I stayed south of the Langeberg mountain range that basically stretched all the way from the Worcester area to very close to George. And every now and then you will find some horses next to the road grazing. How technology changed over the years. Looking at this post with all the little bobbins on it, all the telephones and communication were done with wiring and cabling in the old days. A lonely bamboo. I'm now getting closer and closer to the Langeberg Mountains. As this area is getting a bit drier, there's a lot of olive trees. the little town of Herbertsdale in the distance. Herbertsdale is on the R327. It was proclaimed in 1865 on the farm called Hemelroot. Currently there's about 700 inhabitants, and it's in the Longtow Valley. This valley is about 9.5 kilometers next to the Longtow River. As I left town, I saw a little board, bar ahead, and after quite a few kilometers, I finally reached it. I actually drove past the turnoff to the pub, made a U-turn, and were pleasantly surprised by everyone around. After some relaxing, chatting to the owners and other visitors, it was time to go again. This was the start of the Oxwagon Trail. I did a complete video of this whole trail of probably about 10-15 kilometers. The ox wagons went from George to Cape Town via this route. Next time I visit this area, I will definitely stop a bit more and get behind the history of some of these old buildings. It's up and down over the hilly area, still staying just next to the Langeberg Mountains. And finally, my destination. But first, I need to close the gate again. Oh, and then there were horses. The big dam. There's actually a drought here, but the dam still gets a slow trickle out of the mountain. I booked one of the tents, made supper, and had a very enjoyable, relaxed evening. Day one was successful. It was quite busy, but not that bad.